Hi, this is Vic Conant, president of Nightingale-Conant. At NC, we're always trying to find unique programs that contain information that can change the lives of our great customers. I believe Your Secret Brain, created by PAULA OLESKA, is such a program. Today, I have the great pleasure of interviewing Paula so you can get acquainted with her and what her great new program is all about. So let's get started. Paula, welcome.
Thank you, Vic. It's a real pleasure and a real honor to be interviewed by the legend of publishing. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, Paula, your program has a great title, Your Secret Brain. Tell our audience, what is this secret brain that each of us have?
The secret brain is the midbrain, also called the limbic system, and I call it the emotional brain. It is a secret because it hasn't received enough recognition about the powerful role it plays in our lives. There's only one part of the limbic system that really received most of the recognition, and that's the part called the amygdala, which is our alarm system. The amygdala puts us into fight or flight. But there is much more to the emotional brain because it governs emotions, relationships, and learning. And each of these areas are obviously critical, have a critical importance in our lives. Let's look at, for instance, at relationships. Many people don't realize that everything in life is a relationship, not only in a formal sense like a relationship with our family and friends, but also relationship with our workplace and our coworkers, and even our relationship with locations. For instance, people say, I love Florida, or I hate New York. These are expressions of a relationship. The way we relate to time and money is also a relationship. Time can feel like a slave driver when we feel the pressure of deadlines or just can't keep up. Money can also be experienced as someone who is controlling our lives and can be capricious and unpredictable. When people realize that their experiences depend on what kind of relationships they have with these aspects of their reality, they will be able to manage relationships much better. And that's one of the benefits of going through this program.
And what about emotions? Why is it important that the limbic system governs emotions?
Something that most people and even experts don't realize is that everything is emotional. In our Western culture, and particularly in our U.S. culture, our approach to life has been that life should be governed by thinking and that we should be rational. From that perspective, emotions just cloud the picture, so they should be at least managed or maybe even eliminated, especially the so-called negative emotions. That apparently should make us better and more loving people. There is a huge misunderstanding in that approach, and that is just now being brought into balance by some neuroscientists. First of all, emotions underlie everything, and that includes thinking and decision-making. You can't get rid of them. Neuroscience has documented that getting rid of emotions makes it impossible to make decisions. I discussed that in much greater depth in the program. To make it short for now, let me say that we need to learn to work with our emotions or to master them. When we master our own emotions, our thinking becomes clearer and our decision-making becomes better.
And Paula, what I gather from listening to your program is that when you say mastering emotions, you aren't talking about mild emotions, but problematic emotions, emotions that can have a disruptive influence on our relationships and our lives.
Yes, Vic. I spend a great deal of time discussing the so-called undesirable or so-called negative emotions because that's where we have most misunderstandings. Which are the negative emotions? Mostly fear and anger, and their derivatives like rage, jealousy, hostility, and on the fear side, anxiety. There are three major misunderstandings. The first misunderstanding is that you can get rid of those feelings. Well, we mentioned the amygdala, our alarm center. That's what generates these emotions. Amygdala is not under a conscious control. So you can't just shut it down. And that's why you cannot get rid of those feelings. Second misunderstanding is that you should get rid of them. From my point of view, why should you? Your alarm center is trying to bring something important to your attention. If you shut down your smoke alarm, it doesn't mean that you are not in danger, but you may just not be aware of it. So my suggestion is, instead of trying to get rid of your fears and angers, learn to understand why your alarm is going off. I offer many specific techniques that help people do that. Now, the third misunderstanding is that fear and anger are often presented as the opposite of love. In reality, they are not the opposite. They are a part of the cycle that also includes love. There is a much more in-depth explanation of that in the program. To make it brief for now, if you give your fear and anger the loving attention they need, they will transform, and you will no longer have to struggle with them. From my experience, anger transforms into qualities such as decisiveness, firmness, and the energy to take action. Fear transforms into being able to be cautious and mindful of our own safety. Now, these are very useful, and they are no longer in the form that people don't like.
Paula, I believe you present a powerful and important concept, one that I'm not sure I ever understood before I listened to the program, that emotions are experienced in the body and need to be addressed underneath the conscious level. If you don't understand that, you could spend a lifetime trying to address problematic emotions and not ever master them. Is that right?
Absolutely. This is one of the things that makes this program unique. Exactly what you just said, Vic. The emotions are experienced in the body, and they don't respond to words and logic. Let's unpack that a little. All emotions are experienced in the body, and we have many expressions that illustrate that. So it looks like everybody already knows that. They just didn't put it together. For instance, we say, love makes my heart sing. Or we say, my heart hurts. Or my heart feels heavy. We say, eyes sparkle with joy. Or eyes are clouded with sadness. We have often experienced our throats tightening with fear or sadness, and so on and so forth. We also know that anger makes us clench our fists and speeds up our heartbeats and our breathing. And fear, on the other hand, makes us hold our breath and makes our palms sweaty. So if you really pay attention to your embodied self, you will notice that you experience everything in your body, and that even includes thinking. In the Secret Brain program, I mention at least one neuroscientist who thinks so.
And what about emotions not responding to words? Why is that?
Well, Vic, to make it simple for now, we can say that the parts of the brain that govern emotions developed before we learned to speak and use logic, so they don't respond to words and logic. This idea may seem to go against the established ways of dealing with emotions, but it really makes sense if people look at their actual experience. So, for instance, think of how many times have you been able to effectively talk somebody out of being angry while they were in the middle of it. When I teach workshops, I ask participants if they had tried to talk themselves out of feeling angry or scared. Most of them say they did. They tried. Then I asked how effective that was, and most say that it wasn't effective, especially in the long run. Am I dealing with some special population that has little self-control? I don't think so. I think this is the reality for most people. And also, as I said before, there is no point in talking yourself out of those emotions because they are trying to give you important information. You need to learn to understand them instead and to work with them. And that's one of the key points of my program.
Paula, if we don't use words, how do you recommend we work with emotions?
Thank you, Vic. I'm so glad you asked. Our emotions respond to the language they understand, and that is the language of movement, sensation, and emotion, what I call kinesthetic techniques. If you address emotions in that way, it changes them in a beneficial way. The kinesthetic techniques seem to work underneath the conscious level, but the ultimate purpose is to calm down the brain centers that govern emotions, so that will free up people's thinking brain so they can become more aware of the messages the emotions carry. Ultimately, people will become more conscious, but the way to get there is not through logical persuasion. This program offers a step-by-step approach to how to get there.
Paula, you've counseled many people in your practice. What are the symptoms of the people that you've seen that really get a lot out of the principles of your secret brain?
First of all, most people who work with these principles develop a much better awareness of themselves. Now, self-awareness may not be on the top of many people's agenda, but it's an invaluable tool that helps people manage their lives more effectively. Once people understand why they have the reactions they have, and they apply the tools offered in this program, they can achieve true mastery over their lives. For instance, instead of yelling at their spouse or a child or feeling victimized by their boss, people can go within, understand what is really going on for them, apply the processes from this program for about 15 minutes, and then emerge with a completely different attitude and a new ability to solve the problem. In the long run, many people who use these methods dramatically improve their self-esteem, they healed their family conflicts, improved their relationships, effectively dealt with difficult supervisors at work, and generally were able to stand up for themselves. For example, I asked one woman client what it meant for her to take care of herself. Her first response was, maybe take a long bath or go for a walk. I asked her this question again after several sessions of brain upgrade, and brain upgrade, of course, constitutes the main core of the secret brain program. And then she said, I realized that some people keep asking me to do things for them and they never respond to my needs. I've been able to say no to those people. She also said, I need to address things with my supervisor when other people get credit for what I do. I need to make sure that I have time to spend on my own interests instead of always thinking about my job. Other clients were able to also stop unwanted habits and create more beneficial habits. And they were able to excel at work and clarify what they wanted to do in life.
Paula, what are the typical problems people come to you with?
Well, Vic, people come to me with similar problems. They would come to a therapist or a coach. Finances, relationships at work or at home, defining what they want to do, being successful at work, and so on. Some of my clients came to me because they were frustrated with the endless talk of therapy, or they were not getting the results they wanted from conventional coaching. Brain Upgrade, which is the main component of the Secret Brain program, allows us to, quote-unquote, or so to speak, look under the hood and uncover hidden obstacles that are not on the conscious level, but on the body and emotional level. I found that most people know what to do, or at least they were told what to do and what they should do, but they are not able to do it. Do you know people like that?
Yes, I do. I was just with a young lady last night who was complaining about not being able to maintain a positive attitude in a very negative situation that was going on in her life, even though she's normally able to control her attitude.
Oh, great. Yes, I do too. So the reason why it's so difficult to, for instance, for this lady to maintain the positive attitude or to apply for other people what they know they, quote-unquote, should do, it goes back to what we discussed earlier. The answers are not in the conscious mind. For example, one man who works with me got a new job, and he said, I know I need to hit the ground running to make 40 calls a day and stay on top of things. I even know how to do that, but I somehow end up surfing the internet. He wasn't lazy, but there were hidden obstacles holding him back. And once we uncovered what they were and transformed them with brain upgrade activities, he became much more focused and much more productive. And that only took 4 or 5 sessions. Another client said, to get these results in one session is amazing. It would have taken years of therapy to achieve this.
Paula, who is the perfect customer or listener for the Secret Brain?
Well, Vic, I think everybody who has an emotional brain, which means everybody, will be a good customer. But there are certain groups of people that I really would love to get interested in this program. The first group would be all leaders and decision makers, everybody in the C-suite. Business leaders have been expressing interest in emotional intelligence, or EQ, for some time now. EQ has been documented that is a much bigger factor in success than IQ. So has been gaining popularity over the last several years. So business leaders know that EQ improves morale and teamwork. Well, this program offers shortcuts to developing EQ, and it can also be easily applied throughout any company. In addition, the methods offered here improve thinking, communication, and problem solving. So they have a potential to make everybody more productive. The second group of people I would love to work with this program is moms and dads. With this method, they will be able to understand their children much better, and they will have more tools to help them. This program offers unique tools that can help solve family conflicts or even prevent them. Maybe even I'd love for dads to especially go through this program because in our culture, males typically have much less experience with emotions. I would also love educators of every level to learn these methods. Our schools are often anti-brain, which I could explain in great length, but I'm going to just say that that could be very easily remedied if educators understood how the emotional brain affects learning and behavior.
After listening to your program, how would I ideally be changed? What will a person walk away with after listening to your program?
You will walk away with a complete set of tools to understand yourself on a much deeper level so that you can manage your life and relationships much more successfully. You will have the tools to resolve all kinds of conflicts and also communicate more effectively. You will experience less stress and more peace of mind.
Well, Paula, I can say after listening to Your Secret Brain that I found it to be extremely thorough in explaining the brain and its functions, but you also give many practices for immediately relieving stress and tension. I felt like I was getting taught how to give myself CPR for emotional distress.
Wow, what a great definition. Thank you so much, Vic. I will now tell people that that's what they will be getting from this program, a CPR for the emotional distress. My intention was to give people more practical and effective tools because I felt that the existing tools only helped partially. So these exercises will have an immediate impact on lowering the stress level and calming the nervous system for everybody.
Well, Paul, I have to thank you very much for coming in. And before we close this session, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about Your Secret Brain while we have the chance?
Yes, thank you very much for giving me this chance. And I would love for people to understand that understanding the emotional brain and working with it using the tools in this program will also add enjoyment to life. So it's not only about productivity, but about having more joy, because emotional brain, our limbic system, also gives us a sense of humor, imagination, and play. There is much more about that within the program. So go get Your Secret Brain, study it, apply it, and have fun. Thank you so much, Vic, for giving me this opportunity.
No, that's been great, Paula. Thank you for sharing with us. There's no doubt in my mind that Your Secret Brain could have a positive impact on a large number of people if they try it. This is Vic Conant saying thank you.